right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're doing another Sessions with Dr. Cheryl today. I just did a live one a couple days ago, but you'll see this way later because I've got them queued up right now. And so today we're talking about attachment. I finished this book. I listened to the Audible of it. And so but it's not going to be a book review. It's going to be after this session, you're going to know all about attachment. I want you to know about attachment because this affects everybody you know. This affects you and everybody you know. And it might be like a book review, but it's really, I've been a psychologist for over 20 years. So I love learning what's new in the field or what people have found and sharing that in a regular way so we can get it. And so lots of people talk about the avoidant, and that's usually called the runner who runs out of the relationships, or the anxious attachment who runs towards the relationship. They often run towards the chaser sometimes, or not. And then there's secure attachment, and we all want to be secure. And what this book does not have, this is Levine and Heller, and I was going to say so far, but I listened to the whole thing. I'm in the epilogue now. And so let me see. Yeah, I got all the way to here. I'm in the middle of the epilogue. So I read all of that except for the last few pages because I was listening to it. And is God, hello, welcome to your life. Welcome this is like the trump card. Before we used that word, we couldn't use it a lot for a while there. Only because, certain videos get... Anyway, I won't talk about it. But so when you're playing a card game, if you have like an ace wins, or like an ace of spades wins or something. Or if you're playing a game, playing with the Queen of Hearts. Anyway, that's a song. Don't play with the Queen of Hearts, I'll tell you that much. Oh, my heart necklace. I want to go get it. It's right around the corner. I think I will because I use it so many times. But look, there's a heart right here we can point to. And I have a heart on my earring. Okay. All joking aside, this is so your life. This is so what will be important for changing your life. This can change your life. I'm so excited for your life to be changed for the better. We're not just changing it to change it. All right, now I had that. Now it's falling a little. Okay, and so all right, so let's just learn about attachment. And one of the other things that was coming to me for today that I was so excited about, because I am a faith-based psychologist, let's say. Well, I mean, I see people of all faiths, of no faith, of, they don't believe in God, whatever. They come in and they find me and they don't know. So I don't advertise as like, I am a Christian psychologist. I do have that in some of my profiles. So people know that because people are looking, some people really want that integrated in their while they do therapy, because this is what I studied. I studied both. I went to a graduate school that integrated both, but I totally have this understanding that everybody is on their own path, and the same creator created all of us and is working on each person in a different way. So don't judge anybody ever. And so what I was going to say is that because when you are a Christian, you're indwelled with the Holy Spirit. And there's a verse. So just bear with me if you're not a Christian. Just go with this and hear this mystically. All right. As John 16:13 says, Jesus was speaking. So when Jesus is speaking, he's always telling you some kind of higher truth, some kind of higher consciousness. And he said, when the Spirit of truth comes, the Spirit will lead you, the Holy Spirit will lead, guide, and direct you into all truth and show you things to come. And so people are like, how did you get that? How did you know that? I'm like, I don't know. I just trust in the knowing that comes through me. And I have had to pray and go through lots of different tests to learn how to discern. Okay, so it's not always like I just got that song, whatever song I just got. Oh yeah, Playing with the Queen of Hearts. Don't do that. This is a lot of what this video is about for you. All right, this is about learning how to protect your heart in the right way, and learning what how valuable you are. You are valuable. If God's only son left heaven to come and pursue you, okay, then it's already someone offering a secure attachment. It's already someone coming to say, I love you this much, they say, with his arms open wide, right, on the cross. And so he lived a perfect life here, and God is perfect, God is just, and so he can't accept us with imperfections. Otherwise, I would just teach presence, because I love teaching about just being present, okay? But God is just, and so God has to have perfection. And so Christ was that somehow in this mysterious way for us. And it's offered to every person. So I don't feel like it's exclusive, because everyone has access to it. Everyone, no matter what faith they grew up with, they have access to this love, to this secure base. Okay, now so I was saying all of that because I get songs from the Holy Spirit, and the song that I already meditated on this morning, it was a psalm. So it's a psalm of David, a psalm of ascent. So that means in Hebrew, it means you're going up. Just think of it as raising your consciousness. Jesus was always talking from the highest level of consciousness there is. Now, I don't teach anything new age or occult, and I recommend not looking to any of that stuff, because although it looks appealing at first and you feel like, I'm so smart, look at all this information I got, and look at all those dumb people, it gets you in your spiritual egotism. And so what I'm talking about is everyone can be born again. Like everyone, for God so loved, John 3:16, that's like the sign they hold up at sports games. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. That means the word Zoe in Greek. That means the Holy Spirit will indwell in you, and that Holy Spirit is like the spirit that breathed over the waters in the book of Genesis. So you have access to all of the truths ever. All right, so everybody can have access to this, and now God, there's spiritual paradoxes. God has to call you, but you're receiving the call. This might be your calling right now, right? Coming through me as love, as a vehicle of love for you. That's all. All right, I have my knowledge too, and my training. I got my doctorate in psychology, and I've been doing it for over 20 years, like I said. And so, and then we have this updated, recent-ish, I think it's recent, book that synthesized a lot of different people. What I was seeing some through their book was a lot of what I read in a book, I'm sure I have it right over there, called Keeping the Love You Find by Harville Hendrix. He did such a great job of this. I remember having it all the way in graduate school a long time ago, 20 years ago, and I was quoting from it, so I wasn't pretending it was mine, but they were like, wow, how did you take these really in-depth psychological terms and put it so accessible? I'm like, the Harville Hendrix? Like, it's funny because, anyway, I won't tell that joke. There's a funny joke about my ex-husband, but anyway, I guess I already said it. He called him Horrible Hendrix, but it's only because there were, it's a great book. It's only because there were so many exercises, and it brought up so much of his past for him. And I don't know, I think he wasn't ready to see it, but whatever. I wish him well. I wish him well. That's annulled, so it's like I was never even married. So anyway, I don't want to get into personal stuff, but just know that I've been through this, and I've just so you don't feel alone, okay, is I've been through this myself. I know what this is like. Okay, so the psalm that I got was Psalm 1, let me double check, 131. Yeah, I wrote it down for us. Okay, I have my journal. And so it says, So understand this. Let me get some. So this was a song of David, but I also got a song as well. We'll see if we get to go to the pop song that I got. I didn't get, my guitar's right here, but I didn't get to look it up or anything if we do that. I'm going to write it in the side of my journal. Okay. So let's get the basic premise, okay? Is what we learned from this, and you don't have to buy this book. I'm not trying to sell it. I'm not getting any money from them or anything. Is revelatory, it says on the top. Okay, so I really appreciate what they did. So I really appreciate it. Is, let's say they said that about 50% of people, now don't ever, I'm like Han Solo, don't ever tell me the odds till I'm already done it. You know, it's like, so don't be stuck, because this can turn into what people call a word curse or something. I never want to limit. With God, all things are possible, okay? We're almost at 11:11, and so that's like, I did a whole video on that, a live one, but open doors pretty much. God is one, and so it's like the oneness. Anyway, I did this whole teaching on understanding what the Holy Scriptures are teaching us with 2 Peter, and they showed it like it looked like an 11, 1 through 11. So they're just ones all over that place. And this is 131. But anyway, you don't have to get caught up. I'm not saying to look up. God is the inventor of numbers, so he will speak to us through numbers, but it doesn't mean angel numbers. I don't recommend that, because that gets into this channeled stuff and New Age stuff. And I was recommended by even this Native American Christian man that I met with, and I'm part Native American, and he's just like, never listened to channeled stuff. But you have to pray and discern this with God, because the way he said it to me as a warning, and maybe this is coming to someone today, is just like, maybe 96% of it will be true, but they'll get your trust and start taking you off the course of your life. And they're basically, well, how Jesus said, by their fruit you will know them, is look at the fruit in your life. If your life starts going down, I don't recommend going on that path at all, but I know from my own experience being misled, is that you'll start going more and more in your egotism, and I'm all that, and look, those people don't get this information. And it's like, well, no, go to something that gives everybody has this opportunity to have the Holy Spirit indwelling in you. All right. And so all right, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I'm glad you stayed till this part. Okay, and so we're going back a little bit to psychology. Now, the word psyche is the word soul in Greek anyway. I took Greek in undergrad. And ology is the science of, or the study of. So I always look at what I'm teaching is totally correct with real psychology, because we're studying the soul. Now, your soul, like we were talking about, the Zoe life, has an eternal purpose here. But if you understand, there's no but to that. Let's understand that God is love. And so it says in 1 John, when you love, you know God, because God is love. He that loveth not, the one that he or she that loveth not knows not God, because God is love. And so when you're walking in this place of not being in loving relationships because you didn't know, because of your childhood attachment, so let's say from the age of 0 to 3 years old, you form an attachment style. This is like if your mom or dad kept showing up consistently and picking you up and loving you, and they were confident, and they had we call it like internalized good parent, and they knew how to give that to you, then you naturally develop this secure attachment. Now, these people are not describing themselves as Christians in this book. It's not totally off Christian. If you are a Christian, you can still read that. Just use discernment, because sometimes a philosophy will come out, and again, it looks great, but it will take you off your higher purpose for being here as well. And Jesus made that very clear when and understand this mystically. If you're not a Christian, understand this mystically. Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, And then all these other things will be added to you, because you're not chasing after something that's less than what you're meant to. The way C.S. Lewis says it, C.S. Lewis puts it in the book Mere Christianity. Now, C.S. Lewis was like best friends with Tolkien, and he was an atheist, and Tolkien helped bring him back. And I love J.R.R. Tolkien. Tolkien was orphaned, and C.S. Lewis lost his mother. And so there were a lot of losses in these people's lives. So they understand loss. But Lewis said, aim for heaven and you get earth thrown in. If you aim for earth, you get neither earth nor heaven. That's kind of what Jesus is saying, the same thing. And so if you had these loving, available parents, and you kept, when you looked up to them, they were there, and then you could go explore in the nursery. Like they have an example of this little baby that comes in, and when the mom's there, then the baby just goes and explores. And I talked about this on my live on the riser video. If you want to see that, I'm wearing the same dress. It's still clean. Anyway, it's a Dirk Bentley song, and so I got to do a country song. I'm a riser, I'ma get up off the ground, don't run and hide her. When pushing comes to shove, I'm a fighter. Anyway, come out alive, or I'm a riser like Jesus. When you have the Holy Spirit in you, it says you have the Holy Spirit that raised Christ from the dead in you. So you have this power in you. Anyway, so this is not nothing. This is something very big. And a lot of Christians don't even know that the power and the weight and the way you're meant to walk in authority and the way you're meant to activate this in your life. It's like if every morning God gives you 100 doors to walk through in confidence and love and true faith, trusting that he will be there catching you in every one of those doors, like putting confetti. I'm seeing like the party confetti through each of those doors. But every day, because of our training from childhood or our attachment style or whatever, we only walk timidly through 3 of those doors, even though we have the Holy Spirit in us, which raised Christ from the dead. And everyone else that doesn't have the Holy Spirit, you were made in the image and likeness of God. So you have a way in you. Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you, kingdom of heaven. And he also said, I'm the light of the world, but he said, you are the light of the world, right? And so John 1:9 says, he is the light which lighteth every person that comes into this world, every one, all right? So that light, to some degree, is in everybody. So I don't want to hear any excuses, all right? All right, so let's understand. When you had, and I'll just use the baby example that I used in the riser video, and this is good to refresh because I'm refreshing after 20 years and I take continuing education. Every 2 years they make me take more hours and hours and hours. So let's say this baby they bring a baby into this room with a bunch of toys on the floor, like bright toys, and the mom's holding the baby gets down and starts exploring. As long as the baby keeps seeing mom, she feels great. It was a she, I think, in this one. And so and then she keeps exploring, but they called it the strange occurrence. I don't know, I forgot the name of the experiment, but basically it's acting like something strange was happening outside. So we got to call mom out. As mom sneaks out, as soon as the baby doesn't see the mom there anymore, baby starts crying or walking to the, crawling right to the door to try to get the mom back. And then, and the experimenter like shows these shiny toys, and the baby's like throws one at the experimenter. And then when the mom comes back, the baby's like crying, but is consoled. It doesn't have to be for a long time. I don't recommend being a volunteer for these experiments. I'm glad they were already done because I don't want to do nothing to my babies. All right, nobody puts baby in the corner. That's from a movie called what is that? It's Dance, with Patrick Swayze and it's Dirty Dancing. So I'm not recommending that movie for a lot of people, but we watched it when it was on TV, so it was edited. That's when by the time it came out for us. But anyway, I just remember someone taught me that's the line from her name is Baby. She's like, nobody puts baby in the corner. All right. So we're talking about that right now. That's so awesome that that example came up, because that example will help you remember this. Okay. And so baby goes off in the corner because, or whatever. So what happens is they measured this over lots of different babies or whatever, or lots of different people. And they found that, let's say in childhood that just happened a lot. And so the baby learns to be anxious, learns that mom's not always there. So what I was going to say, after the mom soothed the baby, held the baby, baby goes out and explores again after a little bit and just finds interest again in exploring. Now, at first, the baby threw one of the things at the mom too. And it was like, baby was mad at the mom. And so it was like, think of all of the descriptions that they have for depressed is loses interest in regular things that you used to have interest in. Depressed is to press down. Like if I had my heart necklace, it's like to press down, to press, to squish it, because I have this one, and it's like, if you push it down, you're using your daily bread, like give us this day our daily bread, your daily energy. Instead of it to open all these doors with all the confetti and like, yes, let's go for it, because I come from a secure base. You use that energy, and you're not doing it on purpose, to suppress yourself, to press down, depress, like a tongue depressor at a doctor. You're pressing down, you're depressing, you're not realizing you're doing this. Now, how I would draw anxiety is like you have all this anxiety around your heart because it's easier to focus on all of these anxious things instead of what's really going on in your heart, which you feel vulnerable about because you're not in a secure attachment. Okay. Now, so once you really know your mom's going to be there, or your dad, we're just talking about a parent here, then you feel confident to go explore. So like depressed people lose interest in their everyday activities. They either sleep too much or don't sleep enough. There's oversleeping and they're just disinterested in life. You're squishing so that you don't have this vibrant, juicy heart that feels passion and life. And so it solves it temporarily solves the problem, just like any addiction, anything people run to. It temporarily solves your problem by suppressing everything, by numbing yourself or making you feel high temporarily from something. And let's say all these arrows of life are coming at you, and your heart, when your heart is, instead of big like this, it's squished down, all the arrows, some of the arrows miss you, right? You don't feel like you're such a target. But you spent your energy, instead of being passionate and growing in all these gifts that you have, you're using that energy to depress yourself. All right. It's a defense mechanism. And I was taught it's a defense we use until we don't yet know a better one. And anger is a defense we use until we know a better one, because we don't yet know a better one. And anxiety is one we use. Like, watching TV and being caught up in other people's drama and problems and living our lives vicariously through them is a defense we use when we don't yet know a better one. All right, I got this shirt just now. Oh, let's see how much. $8, $7.99. And it's so cute. I got it for my son, but if he doesn't want it, you'll be seeing me wear it, okay? Because I grew up on these stories. I grew up reading them to my boys, and it's just like, and I got a long time ago, maybe 2016 or something. Lazy Daisy, like a bicycle built for two. And I think I did on my Your Soul songs. I did a video on it because it's a free song, so there's 0 copyright, so I could put that. So that's on yoursoulsongs.com. But I ought to have been wearing this if I knew about it. It's so sweet. And so we're talking about attachment. And so friends can be securely attached to each other. And, I just loved it. I didn't want to put it on because, it's my son's. I didn't want him to see it in a video and be like, why were you wearing my shirt? And, unless he doesn't want it. But he likes this color. So, and I love the frogs. It's frog and toad. All right. And so there's this beautiful story where, like, one of them, frog or toad, tries to plant these seeds, and they're like grow seeds. And he goes out there and he's playing the violin and he's singing to the seeds and he's doing everything he can to try to get these seeds to grow. Look, I have this necklace that'll remind us of that. I do have a heart necklace nearby me. I have it hanging on my wall. It's like these seeds, right? And he keeps going, grow seeds. And he goes to his friend, and like if it's frog, he goes to toad. He's like, why are my seeds growing? And he's like, it takes time for these things, right? And so that's what friends help you bounce ideas off of each other. I just got to go walking with one of my friends this morning, and I feel so rejuvenated from that. Just walking and conversation with a like-minded. It's just such a gift. All right, so, okay, so you understand about all addictions. I just taught you about all addictions and about why we use depression. And I was depressed for a long, long time. So I can commiserate with that. And I can tell you on the other side of that you don't have to stay in that place. That's why I'm so excited. This is like the good news. It is good news because God did not intend for us to live that way. That is a way that came to us from trying to protect ourselves in this broken society. And C.S. Lewis says in Mere Christianity that Christianity is the one that apart from duality, it's not the same as dualism. I mean, it says that the Christians believe that it was a good world that has gone bad, but we still have the memory of the good. And that's why we can say that's not fair, because we have an idea of what true love is. And we can say, why is my relationship not working? You know, if there was only subjectivism, then why does it matter if relationships work or not, if love happens or not? You know, that's a fatalistic and nihilistic type of point of view. But that we know love is real, and love triumphs, and love always wins in the end. And we already know that because Jesus conquered death and rose from the dead. If he hadn't rose from the dead, it's just like the verses say, our faith would be for nothing. He rose from the dead to show that love wins. Love wins in the end. All right. And I want you to already have love now, because God is love. Why would the enemy of your soul wants you to have fake love? That's not love at all. Transactional, they call it love in this world. But God wants you to have real love with a capital L, divine love, wants you to live in this love. Jesus said that in John, I think it's 15 or 16, when he says, abide in me, remain in the vine. I'm the vine, you are the branches, remain in me. And then he said later on, it says, remain in my love. All right. And so the Sufi poet Rumi said the same thing. Whatever you do, wherever you go, stay in love. Right. And that's just in this place of love, like in the middle of love. All right. And so let's figure out, let's not just figure out, let's know this is a walk of faith. Okay. Because outside of the 50% that may or may not have a secure attachment, I heard from other people after this that because of those 2 years that people were isolated and getting all sorts of things put in their bodies and, you know, all this stuff, that a lot more people became, and then all this stuff coming out about things you can trust and that you can't trust and that you were told to trust. And watch my old videos, because you saw that I was not saying any of that stuff to trust those. Anyway, I won't go into it because let's just stay here. We'll see. We don't want to derail our conversation here. But all that to say is it made people get into anxiety, a lot of anxiousness, or avoiding, right? They taught you to stay away from people. And so more people, I think, moved into those categories now. And so it's really important that we address it. And when you heal this in you, I'm not just saying share this video, but I'm saying, like, as you know this, you become a light in this world and you wake other people up so that you could teach them, once you learn how to do this, how to come back to a secure attachment. And I'm like, you don't have to go find, like Harville Hendricks says, find a platonic other to practice this with so you don't trigger each other so much. You know, just a friend that will be like, hey, you know, you're bringing up my issues and I'm bringing up your issues. Let's consciously communicate this to each other so we can work on it, so we can both go out and have relationships with, you know, a real relationship with what, you know, I'm like one person. You know, that's the ideal. That's the way we were. Anyway, I'm like, you don't have to do that because we've got God. Like Jesus already came to give us God, to reconcile us with a perfect God. So you can have, this is a live, active relationship. Jesus is alive right now. Jesus is called the bride, the bridegroom of us, the bride, the Christ. All right. So this is a real relationship. Now, it's a mystic. Okay. I'm trying to figure out the words, how to say this. This is a mystic union of your soul with God. This is not anything I don't want to bring up all of this stuff that's coming up, so let me think how to say that. Ephesians 6 says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities and wicked rulers in high places. And so this is not about any kind of weird sensual thing, okay? I just know that people can be derailed in all these different ways. Yes, you feel this passion and you're alive, and it's a kind of dying of your outer self for this union. But in Revelations 2:18, it says, and those who overcome I will give a white stone to, this mystic manna, but a white stone, and your name will be on it. So as Christians, we don't believe that you totally merge and there's no more you anymore, like a drop of the ocean back into the ocean. You still have your real essence self, but it's not this personality self. Okay, so I talk about that in a lot of videos. I'm not going to go into it here, but there's all these elements that are important for you to have. Okay, and so what happens is, let's go back to the baby experiment thing, is the avoidance. They say they measure their heart rate. Their heart rate goes up the same as other babies. But they learn, don't even look up at mom. Don't look for mom. Don't look for dad. Just keep playing with the toys. They never looked up in the first place because they were already trained that mom or dad is inconsistent, or they're yelling all the time, or they're not working out their problems, or mom is just too busy. You know, what if she had like quadruplets or something and she didn't have help? And back in the old days, there'd be villages, and so people would all help each other, and we wouldn't have to have these avoidant attachments formed. And so what avoidants do, let me tell you, is they, and I'm just doing this from memory, is they, from just listening to the whole book, is they try to find ways to get out of the relationship. They try to find ways not to commit. They have this ideal, perfect partner in their mind. They call them partners in here, but let's just say perfect spouse in their mind. Like, I have to only see blonde women who are 5'10" to 5'11", and they have this, it's so narrow so that they can dismiss and diminish other people, because they might fall for someone, but then what they do is, because closeness brings up their fears, intimacy brings up their fears, the closer they get, the more they just unconsciously go into, never go full, if you've seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. They unconsciously go into this dismissive thing where they're dismissing the person, they're sabotaging it. They may even feel like they love the person, but they put them down, they say mean things to them, they don't show up consistently, they don't call, they may ghost, they do all of these things. Even if they cared about that person initially, it's like, I used to say this in my office, it's like, you know, if our parents taught us, we are afraid of intimacy, you can't do that, you just have to have these scraps of addictions and stay in cycles and just numb yourself and keep taking yourself up and down with these addictions and trying to make a lot of money and trying to get some hot person next to you to make you feel like, or famous person so you feel like you're worth something or whatever. We just stay in the cycle instead of the Zoe life where you're going up and God is remaking you into a little Christ on this earth and helping form your soul self, your true, your awakened self that we were always meant to be in paradise as Adam and Eve before they brought in this curse, this curse of death, that Jesus took the curse upon himself so we could reverse the curse for us. All right, now that's very simplified. But Jesus says, in order to enter into the kingdom of heaven, you must be like a little child, right? So it's like, you got to be like Frog and Toad, right? And Oh, but not a reptile. I'm not saying that at all. Maybe that's why I was like, I got this intuition you won't need that shirt, but now I see, because I'm not promoting, if you know what I'm talking about, this will be like an inside joke for you. But it's not a joke. It's not a joke at all. It's like about Genesis 6, if you want to understand Genesis 6. All right, and so I'm just checking if that's enough. I don't have to say more. All right. I'm like, God, be with every single person here. I pray in Jesus' name, amen. Open your spiritual eyes so you understand the depth. This is like, I don't know where you're ever going to get all of this stuff put together. Like, God put me together like this so that I can combine all these weird, they're not weird at all. It's all so important for your life. If you died tomorrow, and God forbid, it's important that you start on this Zoe path. When Jesus said it in John 10:10, the thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy. I have come that you may have life and have it abundantly, right? So you're meant to have, and that's the word Zoe again, this abundant life, real, vibrant life, not meant to be caught up in your egotism, your false personality self, caught up in trauma from the past and drama in toxic relationships. All right, and so the avoidant person learns to just suppress their anxiety, raises just the same level, heart rate, but they suppress it and act like they don't have it. And even to themselves, they don't even realize how anxious they are and how much they do crave real love, but they keep sabotaging it. All right. So they say in this book, 25% of the world is avoidant, 25% of what they've measured is anxious. Okay. And 50% is secure. Now, secure, like feels confident to go do these things in the world and use the gifts, let's say, that God put in you, and feels like, it's so weird because it is like the antithesis of what you might think and what our society teaches, which is so sad. Again, I already said it. The thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So he wants to destroy love and give you fake substitutes that look like love that are not love, right? That's the counterfeits, just like counterfeit. Anything. It's not the real thing, and you're worth the real thing. I have lots of videos on you're worth the real thing. All right. I kept getting that in so many ways, but and so you're worth real love. The avoidant was taught, we're not going to be here. So evolutionarily, they call it evolutionary. You learn, I have to do everything myself. I isolate. I don't get in relationships because I can't trust anybody, because they couldn't trust their parents that were supposed to love them from the ages of 0 to 3 and beyond that. And now their parents could have been preoccupied with their own pain or their own depression. So they weren't available. They didn't get out of bed to help them, to be present for them. Or they were busy at work trying to make money, trying to prove their worth, because they felt, I have someone, God rest his soul. I know someone that's passed away, and I was on the island of Patmos with this person, and he was telling me the story of his childhood, and he just passed pretty in the recent years of a heart attack. But once he shared some of these stories from his childhood, I understand why he operated the way he did. Now, it wasn't an excuse. It's not an excuse for him to stay in that way of operating. I was praying for him one time at a church in front of the body and blood of Christ. If you understand what that is, the sacrament. I was just praying for his soul earnestly. And I got this message, and I don't know how, you're never meant to seek out the dead. But he was just like, maybe it's an angel or the Holy Spirit telling me this message, but you're never ever meant to seek out the dead. But the Holy Spirit will reveal all truth, right? It will. And so because I wasn't looking for that at all. I was just praying for his soul to be able to be in heaven, because he died in an unfortunate circumstance. It was like I got this message, and it just felt like when he was around me, it was like, I'm so sorry, I totally misjudged you, I misjudged you. And I was like, I don't mind. I was like, it's okay. And it could have ruined a lot of things in my life. It actually could have, because he was connected anyway. But it doesn't matter, because I was just praying for his soul, detached from any outcome, and as much as I could be. And I entrust all of that to God to work out. But I have that. No, I don't have. I have over there, no weapon that is formed against us shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. Their righteousness is of me. And it's like all things, Romans 8:28, all things work together for good for those who love me, are called according to my purpose. And so I'm still trusting God to work everything out, so that everything is just love, because life is short. Life is short. We didn't know he was going to die. It was sudden. And so any of us, it's just like, if you can be saved today and say, Jesus, save me, I make you Lord of my life, fill me with your Holy Spirit, teach me how to have this real secure attachment base now, because I give my life to you, and I want to start this Zoe life, this eternal life, instead of going in circles, chasing our tails, right? There's a Coldplay song. All right, and so the anxious person learns, like when mom is gone, if they like bang on the door and they're like, ah, and cry a lot, they learn to do protest behavior. They learn to chase after, and like, let's say I do this tap dance for my parents, and then they show back up. And so it got reinforced that when I do this anxious behavior and go and try to manipulate, and this is the problem, is you're not meant to manipulate. I've heard from other people in deliverance ministries, they call manipulation is called witchcraft. And so you really don't ever want to engage in that. Just like you don't want to ghost someone. I have so many whole ghosting series of how much that broke my heart when I got ghosted. And I'll tell you right now, because actually they talk about in this book that your attachment system, when you are a little bit more anxiously attached from childhood, what we do, Harville Hendricks talks about this too, is when you get in adulthood, and even in teenage years, you keep finding people that are the same, that are familiar, like your family that you're so loyal to before. No, don't be loyal to anything that takes you less than God. That's why seek first the kingdom of God. Be loyal to God, and God is love, and true love's ways. Not loyal to our parents, even though we bonded with them. If we bonded with them and they taught us to act in brokenness and hurt people, then why would you follow that? Jesus says, leave your father and mother and come and follow me. Join me on this high consciousness, perfect love path, and I'll teach you perfect love. And so, the anxious person's like chasing the avoidant person, and the avoidant person might feel important at first because this person's going, hey, making them feel important because they're chasing them. But the avoidant and anxious are almost the same people. They're just the flip side of two different coins. And so all these anxious people online, I've seen in the comments, they'll make fun of avoidance and be like, those people, they shut down, they run away from the relationship. Well, look at, and I got to learn this from a coach. It was very expensive for this coach. I hope it was worth it for all of us, because I've not got a dime back monetarily. For 5 years, I've been making these videos, almost 5 years. I got $25 once. Someone went and bought, anyway, I won't talk about it. It's not about the money. All right, that was in the Talking Head song. Never for money, always for love. I was just practicing that. Anyway, and so it doesn't matter. It's just saying I invested knowing that this would help other people as well. And okay, so what happened was when I got ghosted by a person that I cared about, And so if you're a little more anxious, you attach to people more readily than other people. So you have this heart full of love, and there's all these good qualities. And there's also these good qualities in the avoidant people. They do learn how to challenge themselves and, climb Mount Everest and all these things. But we're meant to be interconnected, right? And have this secure base, not, 2 Timothy 1:7 is, God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. And so look at, the anxious person is operating out of fear, whether it's suppressed or not. I mean, the avoidant person is running away out of fear of real intimacy, because real intimacy to them, the message communicated in childhood was, I will get hurt. And the message for the anxious person is, I better go get this love or I'm going to get hurt. And it looks like you're the person that's going to give it to me. And so they keep trying to talk them into turning back around. It's like, just give us a secure attachment. Anyway, and so what happens, what Harville Hendricks was saying in Keeping the Love You Find, is that when we grow up, what we do is we keep reenacting our same lack of, like, I remember I use this example a lot for all of us, okay, as I was in therapy. And I know, okay, I was going to say that one coach said, the more you chase, the more they run. All right, so I had to learn how to pull back, and really pull back, not for the other person, but just because I'm worth more than chasing someone who's not available. All right, but it's a reenactment of childhood. If my dad was unavailable and I learned I had to chase this person to get real attention, and it was only temporary anyway, then that pattern was ingrained in me as a child. And so it's just like any other addictions. You got to learn how to break these patterns. You got to learn that you're worth more than addictions. Now, how do we learn that? Hello, Jesus on the cross, Sacred Heart of Jesus, right? It doesn't have to be this. I have other icons of Jesus, but not to worship any icons, to remind me Jesus has his heart open wide, full of love for me, right? Like two hearts beat as one, right? Me plus Jesus equals love. All right. And so if you have this secure attachment, this isn't made up. You're not using Jesus to form a secure attachment. He gives you himself because he wants you to be loved. All right. And so if you have that, then you can pull back, because you're like, I don't need that. I really don't need that. But one of the other things is, in this book attached, they're talking about you have an activated attachment system. All right. And so like, if you attach easily to people, even if they're friends or whatever, if you attach easily to people, and then you start being loyal and thinking that's my person, because your brain goes into that, even if you're not promiscuous at all. And I don't recommend promiscuity, because that really can make you attach to a person, because it releases all this oxytocin in your body. And that's the bonding hormone. That's what we're going to get to in this verse, is when babies nurse, oxytocin is released in the mom and released and goes to the baby, and it bonds the mom with the baby. Okay. And so when you have certain relations with people, promiscuity, even that people that go out and like, oh, I wait till the third date or whatever, like, you don't know who this person is. And I'm not going to moralize you. It's just God has it in the Bible to walk in chastity. Only in marriage do you have these relations. Otherwise, and even if you are by yourself, so weird. I'm just seeing that now. Like, I don't recommend that. Because I'm just seeing it as a psychologist, is you can start attaching to someone in your mind that you're not meant to wake up your attachment system to that person. Okay? Because when your attachment system is going, and Jesus says, by your fruit you will know them, and you're like, wait a second, I saw all these red flags, but all this oxytocin is running through your body, and you're used to running after an unavailable person, your attachment system is on and pointed at that person. All right. So God has had to work with me so much to heal, to go, wait a second. And this book did help in that respect a lot, to go, wait a second. All I have to do is ask God specifically, help me turn off my attachment system, because maybe it was never meant to be turned on for this certain person that was unavailable, or for this person or whatever, that, whatever. Okay. And so, this is why this whole video, I was like, this video is going to include everything, because there's all these videos by the crappy childhood fairy, Anna, I forgot how to, Runkle, okay, about, now she's not calling herself a Christian either, so she recommends some stuff that I don't recommend, but she's so good on talking about limerence, all right? And so when you keep pining after this unavailable person, these people, Levine and Heller, are just saying it a different way, and then I'm saying it a different way for us. And okay, and so the psalm, look at the psalm. I already did this song, so it's on YouTube. We can link it, or you can look for it, all right? It's called Come to the Quiet, and it's based on a psalm. So John Michael Talbot made it, and I covered it. And so it goes, I wish I had it printed out because I'd play it for us. I guess I don't need to play. Okay. Lord, my heart is not proud, nor are my eyes fixed on things around me. In the quiet, I have stilled my soul, like a child at rest on her mother's knees. I have stilled my soul completely. Israel, come and trust in your Lord. Do not set your eyes on things far beyond you. In the quiet, I have stilled my soul, like a child at rest on her daddy's knees. I have stilled my soul within thee, within God, right? And now I hope I got all the lyrics correct for him, but anyway, it goes like that. And that's the psalm. The psalm is, it says, my heart, Lord, the I am that I am, the self-existent one. So he is the one that the avoidants are. This is why it's a kind of counterfeit to be avoidant. Is, wow, God, thank you, Holy Spirit. God is showing me right now. Okay, always, like Jesus said, you'll know their fruit, know them by their fruit. So if it's a good tree produces good fruit, a bad tree produces bad fruit. Okay, we're not saying you're bad, but this root pattern is bad. It's not working. It's broken. It's just like depressing yourself works to numb yourself, but then you're not passionate about life, and you're not going after the gifts that God put in you to give out to this world, to other people, to benefit the whole world. Your gifts are put in you, not just for you. And so what I was saying earlier is, yeah, you go out into the world before and you reenact these things, and you're trying to get a happily ever after, but you keep getting the same result as childhood. And then you keep feeling like I have to be anxious, or, oh, see, relationships don't work. They were just using me, or they're freaks chasing me. It's like, well, you taught them to chase you, but whatever. I'm more on the anxious person side. I don't know why. No, but look at right now, what was just revealed to me for us, for you. This is for you. I am just a vessel. God is teaching this for you to be free in your life. And we only have a few minutes left. So get this, is the anxious. So God is the I am that I am. When Moses said, well, what shall I tell them your name is, when he was going to go rescue the Israelites out of slavery. They were in slavery. They were enslaved in Egypt, and they were killing their firstborn and stuff like that. It was horrible. It was oppression. It was demonic. These are just systems and models that are still in place in a lot of ways. So you have to be aware. Okay. So anyway, we're all meant to leave slavery and go into our promised land. All right. And so the I am that I am, the self-existent one, is the one, and it's a relationship, because there's God the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit in relationship with each other. So even this one is in a relationship. But the enemy of our souls, the devil's a liar, like Latoya Oki always says. He's a liar. And Jesus said he's a liar from the beginning. I saw Satan fall like lightning from the sky. No, just follow this. Understand these influences and forces if you don't believe that there is one. C.S. Lewis said, oh yeah, the devil would love for people to believe that there's no such thing. Now, I'm not saying be afraid, because we're not meant to be afraid. The spirit of fear does not come from God. but the spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. All right. That's a mind able to be sober, able to be at rest. Okay. And so the avoidant is pretending to be God, just like the enemy pretended to be God and seduced them in the garden and told them a lie, told them that God's not good and was withholding from them and got them to take something lesser instead of something better. All right. I'm like, I'm better, not a counterfeit, right? But I'm not just saying me. I'm saying you know yourself. Like, look in the mirror and be like, wait, I'm the real thing, right? And God will keep helping you become the real thing. And so I'm like, you don't have to be afraid of me. Like, but not, I'm actually getting a song, but I don't want to repeat that song. I ain't afraid of, anyway, because anyway, there's lots of, anyway. So, the enemy, we were just reading that passage in 1st or 2nd Corinthians, appears as an angel of light. So will come in and look like a good shepherd, and he's not a good shepherd. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And so he's like, hey, why don't you just shut down and be avoidant and run from relationships and try to do everything yourself? That's him pretending like he's the one true God. So that is a counterfeit. That's how you can tell it's not going to work. And the anxious person looks like they're so loving, but they're really just trying to please in order to get that person to come back and give them the love that they always wanted. No, so they're not trying on purpose to manipulate the other person. They just learned I have to keep chasing, and the only way to get it is to try to make them jealous, or I'm not saying I did that ever. I'm saying, or whatever, or just threaten abandonment or all of these things. There's all these tactics that they call them, what I used the word already before. Okay. And so, but look, we have this way to be. This song teaches us how to heal, and God will teach you how to heal. So you develop the secure relationship. And it's so funny because they said, usually it takes 4 years. I'm like, to develop, for someone to change from one of these into a secure relationship. But you can speed it up, and there's all sorts of things online and resources that it's not just trying to speed it up, but I know that God has been working on this in me for almost 5 years now. So I was laughing when I heard the 4 years part. I'm like, yeah, that's what it's been. He helped me learn that I don't have to run after, and I'm worth more than an avoidant person. If an avoidant person wants to stay avoidant, then stay in that 25% until it's all less in all the world. But like, do what you got to do, or you don't have to do that. That is a lie, that you have to stay avoidant. We're all worth having a secure attachment. Jesus, this is why it kept coming to me, I'm seeing it now, did not take the nails out of his hand, but he stayed on that cross because he's like, I'm not avoiding this pain. I know that a human being had to live perfectly in order to take the curse off of human beings. He took it off for all of us. But he doesn't make us. We have to receive this if we choose to want this kind of eternally secure. Now, the enemy, Jesus said, what does it profit a man or a woman, right? If you gain the whole world but lose your soul, all right? The enemy wants to steal your soul. I don't understand why people don't get this. This is not made up. Why would I spend my time for free for 5 years talking about this kind of stuff, not making any money, not knowing if any of my platforms will ever take off? I don't know that. I've been doing it for 5 years because you are worth loving. All right, you're worth loving, and because I don't want anyone to go to hell, and hell is a real place, and it was meant to be only for the fallen angels. I heard in some Christian mystic writings, and just Christian writings, right? Teresa of Avila is a mystic, but she says you don't have to go to anything occult. You don't have to go anything off path. Okay, the Holy Spirit that raised Christ from the dead can show you anything. Like, God can reveal anything to you, give you visions, and anyway. But it says, my heart's not proud. My heart's not looking down on all these other people because of their attachment styles kept them from this intimacy with God. What if your attachment style kept you from surrendering your whole heart to a true God that wants to love you? What if that happened? Or what if you've been chasing God and trying to perform for God because you thought you had to manipulate it in order to get him to actually show up when he's like, I'm here this whole time. I have that bracelet that I always wear because I needed that much reassurance. It says, I am with you always. I'm not abandoning you. I am right here. I will hold your hand. There's all these verses that I memorized about God holding our hand, because I needed that. I needed that. For whatever happened to me in my early childhood, I needed that, and God knew that. And so God has been showing me that, and showing up for us, and all these beautiful loving songs. These aren't made up. This is the Holy Spirit just speaking through a person for you to have love. And so nor are my eyes lofty and I'm acting like I'm better than other people and I know everything about these mysteries. I am secure enough. The secure attachment doesn't take things personally. If someone doesn't call back, it's like, oh well, all right, well, they have until like the end of this week, and if they consistently don't show up, then I'm not interested in that. I'm not going to invest myself in a relationship where someone's showing themselves unavailable. Like, why would I do that? I'm worth more than that. And they don't take it personally, and they're not personal, and they're not attacking the other person. Where the anxious person might attack that person, and the avoidant and the anxious person keep reinforcing the messages. See, they're always unavailable. Well, you keep going for the unavailable one because you don't know you're worth a secure attachment, and you pull back and watch. And that's why I have, right, look, I have this. I'm gonna have to get some new tape for this probably. But look, my confidence is in God, in divine love. Every time, I had to write this over my desk even. Every time, and women, I go into this present moment, I'm trusting love to be there with me. I'm trusting that God will be like that good parent, divine love, and teaches me how to be loving, and teaches me how to welcome actually loving people. And I have those people in my life, which is great. All right. And now it says, surely I have behaved and quieted. It's a different translation. It's not behaved, but I have quieted myself like a child that's just weaned from her mom. All right. And so it's like, if you just had, like, let's say back in those days when food was more scarce, they nursed their child like Samuel for 3 years or 4 years or something. And when your mom has been there every 3 hours consistently, and then after that, giving you some food, but weaned you, and you're done nursing, whatever that age is, and you're standing holding your mom's hand, and you feel so secure because she has shown herself secure over and over and over again, every time, to calm you down and be there for you. All right. There's so much science now that they know that goes through the nursing milk and all this stuff. I already just talked about it in my abandonment to divine providence for, it's going to be number 11. Turn it up to 11. So there, you'll see me in this dress, and you'll see me talking about some of this stuff because it was already fresh in my mind, and I was reading Abandonment to Divine Providence this morning. My soul is ever as a weaned child, and it's like, let Israel hope in the Lord from this time forth and forevermore. Put your hope in the I am that I am, in the real one, the one that we can count on, instead of I'm the one that I can count on. That's the avoidant. And the anxious person is also a form of self-idolatry, because it's like, I'm going to try to be God, and I'm going to try to change this person, and I'm going to try to convince them how loving I am. And it's like, you're not meant to play God here or here. All right. This could be like a whole book in itself. All right. So, this lesson is so important. If you didn't understand it, ask questions, watch it again. All right. And the song that I was playing, on my way home, was a song that I got one time. I don't know how it came to me, but it came to me when I was out in Arkansas, and I was at my great grandmother's house, and I loved her. And so I have this picture of her rocking me, and I remember her rocking me as a little girl, and me feeling secure with my grandmother in the Ozarks, in this beautiful, picturesque, mountainous sort of place. And so I didn't know it was my great grandma's house, and my brother and I were walking by it. My brother lives there, and he was like, hey, this is grandma, my great grandma's house. And I was like, what? And I started crying. And then like, he has mentally challenged kids, and I took them roller skating and they're adults, but anyway. And I played this song that had come to me. I don't know, maybe my drive out there that time, it was a long drive. And it's called Equal in the Darkness. And I did a skating video for it. So if I can download that, I'll try to attach it, link to it somehow or put it in the comments. I made it on Instagram, but it was like when I was just there, and it was like, no matter where we go, Steve Aoki, I think, is but I'm not recommending this music for everybody. You have to pray and discern, all right? God gives me things for his own reason, all right? And it was like, only to find, oh my love, the lights down low, you're enough. It's about you're enough. The anxious person never feels like they're enough. It don't matter where we go, we're equal in the darkness. And I don't mean in this darkness, but it's like, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. When you go through the dark night of the soul, it gets really dark sometimes. And you feel really alone. And it's just like God saying, even in Psalm 139, it says, even in the darkness shall be light to you. He pulls us out of the darkness because you are the light of the world. So you're meant to shine, all right? So all of this is about us learning with God in a real relationship. You have to have a real relationship. Dare to have a real relationship with God. And then you develop this secure relationship with God, within yourself. And what Devotions with DeMarcus says is what you tune into, you turn into. So you tune into God. Like I said, 1 John 4:7-8 teaches this. All these principles are in scripture. These scriptures are meant to be alive, active in you. All right. I wish you so much love. Thanks for being here. Make sure to share this with whoever comes to mind. Not just if you're anxious trying to send this to an avoidant person, but I wish all the avoidant people know you're worth more than a counterfeit. And the anxious people, you're worth more. You're worth more than running away all the time and sabotaging and saying, oh, they're not good enough for all these reasons that seem like legitimate reasons, and they're not. But I mean, if people do have red flags, you want to just, you don't have to date the people that are avoidant. And the people that are anxious is like, you can learn to communicate with each other. Anyway, I wish you so much love. Let's all have secure attachments. Yeah. All right. Much love.